Hey, for Friday, July 24th, 2020, this is the Pro and Con Show, and I'm your host, Michael James Ott. As always, welcome to the show, and as always, just a couple words about trying to be better citizens, okay? We have to be open to listening to each other, to the amalgam of the story, the amalgam of the information around some of these serious issues that we talk about. And so there is pro and con, good and bad, for and against. And as much as you might want to ignore that that's true, it's always true. And we as citizens have to acknowledge that that's true. And we have to listen to each other to make sure that we're taking in all the different aspects of a particular issue before we then talk about the good and the bad of those various aspects and what we want to change and what we want to make better for all of us. Okay, so hence the Pro and Con Show. Today's show is why. I titled it Why. And why am I doing these shows? Well, one, obviously, is to encourage us all to be better citizens, and I say it every day to listen to each other. But there's a list of things why I do the show. So I do it to try to make a difference. I think that, me personally, and I hope that many of you agree, to go through this life on this planet and to look back and say, well, I lived, I had a house, I had a car, and I died. Feels pretty empty. Feels like, why did you even do it? What was the reason? What purpose did you have? So you ought to try to make a difference, and make a difference in a positive way. Make life here, hopefully, better for other people while you're on the planet and afterward than when you arrive. That should be our goal, And so you look back and say, well, he did these things. And some people you can, point to, wow, they cured illness, or they came up with some antidote or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of things that are positive that people have done, and all of us should try to make some kind of incremental positive difference. So one of the main reasons why is I'm trying to make a difference. Another thing is that I see and observe that there's a ever-growing divide between the haves and the have-nots. And this is problematic to me. I feel like it's unfair, and I feel like because we have the wrong definition of success, that to some degree capitalism is kind of out of control. And I'm not saying that capitalism is bad in and of itself. It's kind of like generally the best economic system that we've generally figured out so far. But we've already acknowledged that there's some things that we need to do better, either because we as individuals are lousy at doing them, like Social Security, for example. We're lousy at saving for our retirement. So Social Security was formed because, wow, we're so bad at it as individuals that, okay, we're going to kind of force the issue here a little bit. We're going to take a little bit of our paychecks and in a mandatory way and put it into a mandatory system that at least is going to provide some kind of level of living in our later years. Okay, but the divide between the haves and have-nots is growing, and you and I are allowing this to occur, and we should be talking about how to fix that. Another reason why I'm doing the show is because the election of Mr. Trump really, to me, indicates that our electoral system, not the Electoral College in and of itself, but the whole system is broken. And if you watch this video, past videos, or future videos, you'll hear me say multiple times how the two-party system is really killing our society. It's killing us. It's contributing to these other things like the divide between the haves and have-nots, but it's also, contributing to the frustration and the anger and the inept government that we have. Okay, a lot of this is springing up because the way that we find people to. So this, and again, we see this over and over again. The structure of our government is quite strong. So this thing about the balance of power between these different three major parts of government and the checks and balances, that's very strong. What's weak is our identifying people to put into those positions in that structure. That's where we're going wrong, and we need to greatly improve that. So I'm doing the show to try to have influence on that. And that's and then there's this growth of misinformation. So I'm talking about things on a regular basis, and I'm trying to make sure that people are getting both the pro and the con, the good and the bad, the for and against. So there's some mitigation of this misinformation, and also encouraging people look at multiple streams of information to try to get the real truth. It's like walking into a room where the kids have been fighting and everyone's saying, I didn't do it, and they're pointing fingers and stuff like that. Well, the truth is, you get in the middle of all of these kids fighting and you find out that, there's a lot of truth in there, but you have to ferret it out, right? You've got to listen to the different proposals and then figure out for yourself what the real truth is. This is the same thing with these different streams of information. You've got to listen to multiple streams to try to figure out what the real truth is. And then there's this growth of what I call tribal agonism. So this is the warrior stance. And again, political parties, wealthy, powerful people pushing our emotional buttons with basic propaganda techniques, simple labels, simple adjectives, baby killer, woman killer, around the abortion issue first and stuff like that. It's basic propaganda techniques that they're using on us to try to drive us apart, drive a wedge between two major groups, so that they have this base. And you hear about this talked about Mr. Trump all the time. He's got a base of people that are basically going to do whatever he wants them to do because he's been pushing their buttons. And it doesn't matter really whether the things are good for them, and he's shown it multiple times that these people will actually support him even when he does stuff that's bad for them, because he's been pushing their emotional buttons on certain key issues. And it's this taking the warrior stance where you just try to talk. Hey, I'd like to talk to you about this. Talk and listen, okay? And right away it's like, hey, screw you, blah 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 blah. It's this horrific warrior kind of dynamic that's going on, and we've got to step back from that, folks. We've got to be better citizens. And so another reason why is then to try to form or promote the fixes. So the fix for finding better people to put in the structure is this citizen statesman kind of thing. And I'm not going to go into details, but citizen statesman. Talk about it. It's basically jury duty on steroids. So we cast a wide net and then filter those people, just regular folk, step by step through a stepwise process, and then we insert them into the system for one term, and many of our problems immediately go away. Promote the fix of doing these national conferences on these major issues, so guns and gun laws, gun regulation, mass shootings, all of that kind of stuff. We take a month talking about that. We should take a month and talk about racism and systemic racism and police and all that kind of stuff associated with that, abortion, budget, military spending, all these kinds of things. Instead of having various politicians introduce a bill and then go around crowing about how great it is because they introduced this bit. I wrote the damn bill. okay? No, you got to take us all along. We got to understand, and what does it mean? Well, so that for the serious issues that we want to address, we need to take the time on a national level to do these national conferences and step by step understand the issue, pro and con, good and bad, for and against, and then raise us all up on the same level, including, well, here's the good and the bad, and then what are we going to do about it? Then finally, the final reason why I do these shows, it's kind of a form of memoir for me. So there's a lot of people, they get older, especially some of the more famous folks, but actually lots of folks, and they'll write a memoir. They'll write kind of this, or an autobiography or whatever, but it's kind of these significant points in their lives and document them just for posterity. And this is my form of memoir. This is the video memoirs of Michael James Ott. So those are the reasons why I do the show. And good or bad, for and against, pro and con. But that's why, in case you're interested. So until the next show, I'm Michael James Ott. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.